2.5 base economy, right? A weak economy that has a really low drone number, but then and has no army to speak of either. So you're it's the same thing. It's the equivalent of cutting a lot of corners. You know, if I don't attack you for the next 15 minutes, I'll lose, obviously, right? Because you'll have 3 bases, you'll make drones, and you'll win. But if I attack you at all before the 15-minute mark, force you to make units, then all of a sudden I'm ahead, right? So just food for thought. I mean, definitely, it's very hard at. I personally believe PvZ is one of those matchups where nothing is ever set in stone. Everyone has their own way of playing it. Everyone can make anything work. It's just one of those matchups where it's not like ZVT. You know, ZVT, you make Ling, Baneling, Muta, and you move out, right? ZVP, it's like, should I make Roaches? No, Roaches suck. Should I make Hydras? No, they're terrible. Should I make Mutas? Okay, they're okay. Stuff like that. Everything serves its purpose, but then no one knows for sure what's the best unit composition. Everyone's saying, oh, Ling Muta, Roach Hydra, whatever, right? But, so, anyways, before I get super sidetracked, 7 minutes and 30 seconds into this game, there's 2 things I really want to emphasize. One, if you're going to take a third, then you cannot go really gas heavy, take a lair. 2, or more than 2 things, but including on number 1, get an Evo Chamber at the very least. It's 75 minerals, it's gone. And if you ever need it, you can drop Spore Crawlers, you can get +1 attack if you realize I have way too much gas, right? Like, I need to spend the gas on something that I'm going to eventually use it on, right? So you just get
this is weird because it's my first time trying the 14.
Oh yes, I mean it's
yeah.
very. I think you know you're very. Thank you for mentioning that. I actually completely forgot that this was your first time. So I mean you get the general idea of it though, right? Like it's better than, to me it's personally better than 14 gas, 14 pool, because you don't have to worry about cannon rushes, right? Like they could cannon rush you, but then it's not going to be very effective, right? Like cost efficient. So you don't have to open like this, but it's just, to me, is better because on a map like Shakuras, there's no way you're gonna excuse me, you're not gonna kill me with speedlings, right? Unless you did this weird 1-base roach and I didn't scout. But then no matter what, there's no way you're gonna break this, right? And my wall is...
But don't you delay your queen for too long? You lose a lot of larva.
Excuse me?
Because you don't make the overlord.
Oh, you're wait. Let me see. I think you did it kind of wrong. I should have told you the very specifics, but I think. Let me see.
Do you make your queen at 15?
I think because you make a hatchery at 17, so you have 16, right? I think you're supposed to make an overlord immediately at 16 and then make a queen. So yeah, when this spawning pool popped, you should have made a queen and then an overlord and then a drone, because of because you took the gas, right? The gas timings vary, so like you don't even have to take gas at this time technically, and honestly I would say you shouldn't. The reason why is I went forge first, and there's nothing that could attack you right now that you can't defend with slow lings and a queen, even a spine crawler, right? There's nothing there's no way I'm gonna have a stalker in your main, right? If I had a stalker in your main and you had slow lings, you're gonna lose, but there's no way I could get a stalker, right? So the timing on your gas is pretty negligible, but you have to get it before obviously like 24 supply, before it becomes like this really weird, awkward, if I attack you with mass zealot or something, right? But you don't, let's just pretend you didn't get this gas, right? So you're 16 out of 18 when your hatchery drops, and your pool finishes right around the same time, right? Same time? Yeah, roughly around the same time. Then you should start a queen and start an overlord. Alright, when the overlord pops, you make lings, drones, whatever you need to make, right? And then you kind of transition out of that. So these 2 drones should have been a queen. If you take the gas, make 2 lings and send them out. You technically don't need both Xel'Naga towers right away. It's better to, if you made 2 lings, the best way to put it is put one at the top Xel'Naga tower and put one at the bottom of their like my ramp, you know? And then you can transition out of that. So yeah, going back to what I was saying originally, the major things I want you to take away from this is, if you're gonna take, you should always drop an Evo chamber somewhere in your build, just because for the sake of having an Evo chamber.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. With the build, because I tried it first. Normally, I just take my gas then I research speed. Then I take my when I take my third, I just land my second gas, my Evo chamber, and my Roach Warren all at the same time.
I see. Okay then. Well, okay. So, would you prefer to open like that over what I just showed you, or would you? Do you think this one's more comfortable? What do you think's more comfortable to you?
I like this opening. It's more safe.
Yeah. Okay. It's just like obviously on maps it'll vary on maps. So like for example, Shattered Temple, speed will actually work out because you can roach bust on that map, right? Because I don't have a ramp, I just have this open choke. Metalopolis, Tall the Ream, like there's certain maps where it's okay to go speed because if I go Fat Forge, like if I go Nexus first and I'm opening really greedy, you could bust me with roaches, like it's perfectly normal, right? But going just pool first, no gas is for specifically these types of maps where the choke is like this. There's no way you're gonna break this. Antigua really comes to mind on this one too, because Antigua Shipyard, there's two kind of wall offs. One at the top of the ramp for Protoss, and one against the Nexus, right? If they go against the Nexus, you could roach bust it technically, but then the map's so large, it's very difficult. And if the choke, the wall off for Protoss is on top of the ramp, there's no way you could bust it at all. So that's one of those maps where you have to decide right away, do you want, if you're gonna go gas or no gas. But completely going off topic. We're going off topic. I want to continue my point that I keep forgetting. Major things I want you to take from this game is you need to decide right away. Am I gonna take a fast third? Am I gonna take? I mean, obviously, like since I told you this opener, like it's very confusing, very awkward for you. But definitely, if you're gonna take something like a fast third, do not get gas. Do not get a lot of gas. Like this is considered a lot of gas, right? You don't need, because you could have gone 100 gas, taken drones off, and then before you take your third, put guys back on gas. So instead of 268 right now, you could have speed already started and 40 gas, right?
Right.
And then you could drop your Roach Warren, Evo Chamber, whatever. Yeah. I mean, do you have any? I mean, let me see. I'm sure you realize this, but you made way too many Hydras, whatever you call them. I don't know. Anyways, but I mean, you get that, right? Like, you understood that?
Yeah, I made way
like,
too many.
I think you made like 15 Hydras, which is like if you're gonna hit a timing, it's perfectly fine. But like once Colossus are out, that's pretty useless.
Yeah, I switched back to making only roaches, and I almost got my Spire up to get Corruptors.
Yeah, let's see. Because I mean I have an Overlord or not Overlord, Observer hanging over, and I can see your army, and like you have 16 Hydralisks and 10 Roaches. Like no matter what, against, especially since you have 4 Queens. If you have 4 Queens, there's no way I'm gonna break you with air. Like even if I continued making Phoenixes, it would not be cost efficient. Like you should have had at the max 6 Hydras. You know, like 6 Hydras and then make only Roach, because I mean Hydras are just terrible units. You know, they're just I mean there's nothing else to say. They're just really bad units. And
they're terrible when they're Colossi. When there's no Colossi, they're really good.
But yeah, but you're hitting. The thing is like, you can blind counter Protoss by doing that. You can go fast layer, like 2 base fast layer, go straight into Hydra link, and you go Hydra bust,
Hydra.
Right? But if you look at this game, as soon as the Stargate finished, like, and I had units coming out of the Stargate, I already dropped the Robo and everything. Like, Protosses nowadays will immediately go straight into Colossus, right? Because it's the safest unit in the game. Like, Colossus can do whatever they want. And so it's a very important thing to note that, like, if you're gonna go Hydras, you need to have a reason to go Hydras, like a very, very good reason to make more than 6 Hydras. 6 Hydras in Pvs and ZVP is the equivalent of going Banelings against tanks. It's just not very smart, right? Sure, they're useful at one point or another. Sure, if you have enough, you'll win. But in reality, it's just not cost efficient at all. So if you cut back on the Hydras, I think you'd be fine. Like, especially since I'm going air, 6 Hydras is perfectly fine. Like, I'm not gonna attack with air. Like, unless I want 2 Stargate Phoenix, there's no way I'm gonna attack into you with when you have Hydras and Queens. You know, just not cost efficient at all. Okay. I don't. I wasn't even looking for. You can exit the replay. I wasn't even looking for a practice partner at all. Do you have any? Do you have any questions right now? While I try to think of. Trying to think.
If I just kept making a, if I just took a fast forward, just planted two spines, spores at each base, and make 80 drones, would I have had enough army to kill that? To kill that push?
Yeah, technically, because think about it this way: if you had only 3 queens, so that's 150 minerals you didn't waste in the beginning, right? You would make those into 3 drones. If you put 2 spores, this is assuming that you scouted me and you know I only went 1 Stargate. Because if I goes 2 Stargates, then you're really in a lot of trouble if you don't have a lair. If you don't have Hydras out, you're in a lot of trouble against 2 Stargate. But if I have 1 Stargate, then you can defend this with 2 spores. The reason why is with 2 Stargate, if I go double Void Ray into Mass Phoenix, so like I have 2 Void Rays and like 6 Phoenixes, I can kill whatever I want, technically speaking. Like, because unless you go mass spore, which is never cost efficient, right? Like, let's just say you have 2 spores in your main, 1 in your mineral line and 1 protecting the left. You're always gonna have, no matter where you put those 2 spores, you're gonna have one area where something's exposed: spawning pool, lair, drones, extractor, whatever, right? And if I went 2 Stargate Phoenix, I could just pick up all your queens that ever come towards me. So if you have 3 queens and you send them all, pick 3 queens up and I get free queens, right? So you have to, this is how important scouting is. Scouting tells you how much you need to invest, right? If you scouted 1 Stargate, you didn't have to make 16 Hydras. You could have made 5 Hydras because you already have 4 queens, right? You're already prepared for 1 Stargate, but you're not prepared for 2 Stargate, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know what's coming at me and stuff like that. So it's always good to have a couple of overlords just floating around, because Protoss right away will go to your main. It's not like ZVZ where you go Mutiling and they go straight for your overlords. Protosses want to go straight to your main. Why? Because this is like if they haven't
kill
scouted,
drones.
yeah, to kill drones, kill queens, to get something in return. Because you're gonna get overlords eventually with phoenixes, but like, you know, once spores are up, phoenixes are useless in the mineral line. But yeah. So that's pretty much it.